How many of the homeless people and non-homeless people here were aware that the drugs on the streets were coming from the police? How many of them admitted that they had gotten drugs from the police? Now, Chris Stafford has recorded on my channel speaking about some of those situations. So is his former love interest. There's a lot of people here, and I told you, the best way to find these things out, ask the street people. When it comes to human trafficking, ask the street people. Ask the street women in specific, they'll know. Human trafficking isn't always what you see in the movies. Sometimes it's a police officer taking vengeance because that homeless girl wouldn't give him a BJ. By the way, there's a woman who was found in a Eugene parking lot, dead. She looks like a woman from here. I don't know the woman's name, but if you guys type in unidentified woman found dead in Eugene parking lot, you should recognize the woman in the picture. She was here. I know for a fact she was here. Either that or she got a doppelganger who looks just like her. She looks like one of the women who went missing that was hanging out with Mr. Farnsworth. However, that lady, I haven't heard from her. The last time I saw her, she disappeared with Mr. Farnsworth about, I don't know, about 10 months ago, I suppose. About 10 months I've been trying to turn that in. It's been so long and so many things have happened between then and now, I can't even remember her name. Do you know how horrible that is? Anyway, I'm going to post a link to the video after I end the video. I was going to try to do that before I started it, but if I go back after leaving the title page, then it'll do this thing where it really does not allow me to do the recording. What it'll do is it'll tell me that it's scheduled for later, after I've already made the recording. And that's just because once I've made the title screen and it sent me onto the take a picture of myself screen, if I try to go back to the title screen, that's just what it ends up doing. Once you've had that happen a couple of times, you realize not to do that again because it'll fuck shit up. A lot of y'all aren't taking my personal experiences to heart. As a result, you're making the same mistakes as everyone else and fucking shit up. There's a lot of people who are fucking dead. Now that lady who's missing, I don't think she was killed by Farnsworth. Alright, I'm allowed to turn right on this road. But it still freaks me out to do that, to turn on a one-way net. Now the police chief decided he's going to leave during the investigation. I wonder if he's come back yet. As you all know, I've been trying to turn in the corruption here since I got here. People have been telling me about the police and their corruption and the drug plantings, as well as the officers here giving away drugs in exchange for certain types of favors. Some of those favors, well, we're not going to mention right now. We're going to allow those women to come forward about that. Some of those favors include harassing other homeless people or lying about people who told on some of the officers or were to tell on some of the officers. There's also the fact that the people at the Department of Health and Human Services are already aware of this and have done nothing. The people at CARE are aware of this and have done nothing. The people at TFCC are aware of this and have done nothing. Denise Boggs is aware of this. She's with TCCHC, Tillamook County Fucking some sort of family health place. It's run by the county, for Christ's sake. By the way, when I told on these places and I told on these peoples, I was trespassed. See, here's the thing. They pretend like they care until I bring up the fact that there was police involved, and then immediately people start playing stupid. As soon as people start playing stupid, I know they're up to no good, and I know it's time for me to dip out before they start playing victim. Now, I exposed the Tillamook Police Department, and I've been recording the stuff with the Tillamook Police Department. Right now, out of the 80 plus situations where evidence was tampered with, in 64 of those situations, it was drugs that were tampered with, and they're missing. Now, who is it that has on their YouTube channel at least half a dozen people here in Tillamook admitting where those drugs went, admitting that they received those drugs and which officers they received them from? Thanks, sir. Thank you very much. Good night. For half a second, I thought this was the Beatles. The Beatles stops playing right when I say that. Hey, I want to thank you for not treating me like a crackhead or a junkie when I come in. It's nice getting treated like a person. Okay. People and their jerks too, though. I certainly do. People are bullies, I tell them. If they're nice, I believe in telling people when they do good things, same as when they do something bad. Thanks. Anyway, there's a lot more cases that were tampered with. The only cases that they're looking at right now are the ones where it's evidence that was tampered with. They had clear signs that the evidence was tampered with and or missing, going back to 2006, I believe. 4 of the people who were jailed improperly were apparently had the charges dropped and their records annulled. Which is kind of a good start. Alright, I bought some cigarettes earlier today and I can't find them. What the hell is that? That's my rug bunching up on me. Ugh. Anyway, I suppose I should probably end this video. There's a couple of guys who work here who are always real nice, no matter who it is that goes in there. And one of them, he's kind of looked at me a little standoffish a couple of times because some of the local druggies do talk to me. You might find this hard to believe with all the words that come out of my mouth about junkies, but I do protect them out here best I can. Oh, shit. I'll be right back.
He's one person, if I feel tax from the brain, I just glance at my Riverside view and if a lifestyle cancer, we had to push that one last nerve recently prior, and I just glance in the Riverside view and say, what are you doing? You know, today he was standing with the door, and other people were trying to come in, there's a basketball hoop on the end of my son's house. So I just said, Tony, watch out, and it didn't move, so the passenger side of my car is already cracked. I just rubbed against it, and he said, ow, but I didn't have any blood on there, so I think it was just hamming it up. I don't do that with just everybody, honest.
You're just trying to get his attention. That's a good story. That's one of those, yeah, I'm a redneck and so are my friends kind of stories.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm glad to hear about that because there's been some things that I've needed to take care of for a long time, so I'm hoping that this will be a gateway because I wrote down one of the words and I may not be able to include it in this case, but I left it on a long time. If it's not one thing, it's another. We've brought up all these false numbers before, you know, and so I'm thinking, you know, and I wasn't that articulate because I was working on my son's house. And I thought, because, you know, if I exhaust myself and I clean up the area, I focus better when it comes to the paperwork and the stuff that pushes the nerve buttons in memory.
Be organized.
Yeah, because it exhausts, you know, even if my anxiety is like, I'm so exhausted. You know what I mean? It kind of squishes it a little. You know?
Yep.
And so I did that, and my friend stopped by, and I hardly ever get to see him. And so the attorney called right, during that. But then once I kind of repeated it, I think we're still on because I just lucked out. I always pick up when they're coming to town. I saw you right after that. Yeah.
Yep,
And,
that was right after you were having that real bad panic attack, and then they were having you jump through a bunch of hoops that you'd already jumped through.
oh yeah, that
Yep.
too. It's always or he said, she said. The first manager in this one, I didn't even know who the other ones were. So
Yeah, that's how it
sometimes
is
I
with
spend
my
time at my
caseworkers.
son's because I do, and it's a little more rural. But sometimes it's like,
And sometimes your sons need you.
well, that too. The other one's at the other house, so. Yeah, so I'm getting ready to crop him off some toilet paper. And I forgot my friend was out there. Luke's probably waiting. I did a walkabout to the Eagles, but Jimmy, the blues player guy, he's still alive. He's up. I was going to make him a card and send it to Carl, but I didn't really get to talk to him much, but I showed up. Hi, I just came to your store to talk to this guy. No, I'm kidding. Good to see you, though.
Yes, ma'am. It's good to see you again. I forgot to get some rolling paper. What are your cheapest pack of rolling paper? All right, I just came in for a pack of rolling papers, but I'll go out to my car. So whenever you get back out there, I said I just came in for a pack of rolling papers real quick. I'm gonna head it back out to my car, but I know you're probably not gonna be in here for 30 minutes.
No, I'm
I'll
just
still
kidding.
be out there by the time you're ready.
Okay, yeah, I'm running late for my kid. I did a walkabout and I like to window shop and, just take a minute. Yeah, plus I'm hoping the guy who, I mentioned is still out there.
Yes, ma'am.
How's it going, man?
Still breathing. Thank you for asking.
Of course.
All right, that lady was Lori, and she's got a son who's autistic and schizophrenic. And he's for surely schizophrenic from what I can see, but I'm not a doctor. Yes, ma'am.
Maybe one night I might have saw you heading to town from River Road. Maybe.
Is that up Wilson River Loop?
No, that's Cross River. Cross River.
Ah.
Out that way, past Les Schwab and whatnot.
Yeah, I've
Or maybe
only
somewhere else I saw you.
I've only ever been past there twice. Once when I went to your son's house, and once when I was trying to find where you were trying to send me to the other place.
Oh.
And I couldn't find it because at the time my MapQuest was messing up real bad.
Well, sometimes I go to the boat launch now. I actually got a County Parks Pass, but most people don't.
Help you get your head straight.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I have puppies. You know that, right? I don't know if you got to meet them.
I didn't.
They were rescue dogs in cell block M, and I've been praying for a canine kid for a while, and they were already sellies, and they brought them up from Cali that day. It was like a month ago on the 7th, and so, yeah.
I was about to start trying to explain to my YouTube channel that you're eccentric, not schizophrenic. Sometimes when people are real excitable or really excited speaking, people tend to just jump to that conclusion.
I know.
And I've hung out with you enough to know that you're not.
Well, right. Yeah, I'm super excited about. Plus, I gotta pee, and I gotta buzz through the house, and I'm pretty nervous about finding the right paperwork because there's one that may be missing. At first, she was like, well, I usually like to go to the first court, and then I'm thinking. Then she started dipping, and then I kind of explained the story again and said, she's tried to lie about the numbers before, and allegedly, I don't know where she's getting those, and and then she was called out on it. In fact, this lady that is the interim because mine's paid through from Columbia County Mental Health and funnels through here. I forgot I pulled out the file of what the program was called, but I didn't get a chance to really,
Yeah.
So anyway, so you got a cop in trouble. How did you do that?
Well, it wasn't me. It was the fact that I recorded all this stuff happening, and then later on, the news reported on a part of what I was telling about, which is the police officers taking drugs and redistributing them out here.
They are very dirty.
Yeah.
Part of it. That's why a lot of the false finger pointers skate, and a couple of them even run around, kind of mimicking me. I'm not joking. I know that sounds super weird, man, but I'm telling you what. It's the truth. Hey, is that a glow-in-the-dark little bat or a skull or something?
Yes, it is.
That's cool.
It's a little rat. I have one of those, and I have a little bird.
Cool.
They were $1.25 a piece at Dollar General, and I saw them, and they were glow in the dark, and it was right around Halloween. I went, I am an October baby. I'm getting it.
Yeah, I love my house is decorated Halloween. One of the times, I don't know, man. But what are you doing tomorrow? I should hurry. So, I've been doing the pee-pee dance for a while. I can't believe I won.
I will sit and park at the library, at the parking lot in between the library and Safeway, and you can come see me there in my vehicle anytime. I usually park in the far corner in the shade.
Okay. Yeah, I have some things to do downtown. I did my 5 books. I read kids' books, and my kid read, and I thought the 5th, but I got called to get my neighbors a ride. I thought the 5th was the last day, and a cool tote bag and support your library. I'm into that. And it was. Instead of the 12th, so I never got my tote bag once again, and I was doing the, hey kids, let's do summer reading when my kids were little, and I want to do too. They didn't read kids' books even.
You probably remember the Scholastic News books.
Yes, I loved them. Yeah.
Showing our age.
I know. Well, that's cool though. Okay, well, I'm hoping I'm down there, and I do have errands to run, so yeah.
Well, I'll make sure that I stay down there literally all day just in case you get the opportunity, because what you're going through is important.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're not going to be able to tell the difference between you and me, or a person who's on drugs, or a person who's schizophrenic.
I come in snippets because my anxiety and that it has some trauma triggers, so sometimes I can stay linear.
When they had you do all that,
kind of joke about it, but other times I get a little extra.
When they wanted you to jump through a bunch of hoops and paperwork after getting head trauma, they know that's wrong.
Oh, I've been through. Oh, and the kid that came in took $100. And no means no.
Exactly.
And if I'm talking that fervently during an intimate moment, then apparently, unless it's very, very intimate and long term, or at least sporadically known the person, and there's an important message, and we both don't have much time. I mean, that's a rarity. That doesn't really happen. I'm just going way hypothetical or dear ones in the past. But
God, I wish I had a shiwi I could hand to you.
Like that. You know what I'm saying? During those kind of times.
Yeah.
Dude, did you not hear me? You know what I mean?
Sometimes you have to stop and be very direct with people.
I have.
And like when I was over there and
violate you in your own house.
Exactly.
Steal from you, especially when your head blood has a bunch of lumps on it.
Nobody wants to listen to the head trauma part either. Like they don't make the connection of.
My head was just traumatized again. See, yeah. I just seen him clever at me tonight. I'll tell you more about that cat later.
Well, I use caution with everybody, yourself included, and I like you.
Why?
You reserve caution with me because you're not an idiot.
Okay, well, I don't want to shut up, but I better because I'm beat.
You're gonna pee yourself.
And I might pee my pants. Plus, especially if I relax the hair more and put down. And I gotta look for some memories for her and look over what she's texting me or emailed me so I can go linearly with her.
Well, you spent like 2 whole days running around doing what it is they were asking you to do.
Well, I've got a million, and then some I can do their jobs for.
I meant just the 2 days that I was hanging out with you.
Yeah, oh my God, in heaven. Holy, and a bunch of it's been unnecessary, and stemming from defamation of character and false reports, and there's a word, it's an old-fashioned word, it's not like, I can't think of the word, but it's not commonly used, but it's basically like, profiling something to where, anything I see or do, they can, oh, blah, 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 this is that.
It's gaslighting.
That's it. Thank you. So doesn't that mean gaslighting? I thought so.
Yeah, it does, but there's also a lot of legal terms that go along with it because they committed over a dozen felonies just in your situation.
Oh my God, I do so much more. It says right now, like I said, I don't want anything. I don't want it on my record. I have been unhappy living here the entire time. I didn't bring up to her that, home to me is where I hang my hat. An element of safety and privacy, because I said these push my trauma through. I didn't explain that.
There's no privacy.
Character has caused huge grief, and
Yep, and your vehicle too.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm a good person. I come up once in a while, but I throw it out there morning.
Exactly.
And I don't just do what I did to my friends.
That is some redneck shit.
Wait, I'll see you tomorrow.
Be safe, Miss Lori. Like I said, very eccentric, but not schizophrenic. Her son thought I was Jesus. Now that could have been a sign of head trauma. It could have been a sign of long-term abuse. Could be a sign of schizophrenia. Could be a sign that he was trying to have a humorous moment and I wasn't getting it. The IQ difference between him and I, however, is almost 100-point spread. He's got a IQ of just under 80, and my IQ was, depending on which time I took the test, the first time it was 172, and the second time it was 132. And those two tests were taken within about 2 weeks of each other. The first time was when I first got to Centennial Peaks in Boulder, Colorado. And the second one was after I was on a regimen of medications and they had me take the IQ test right after they had me do the EKG or EEG. The EEG is kind of like the EKG, the electrocardiograph, where they check your heart with a bunch of little electrodes and diodes attached to you that monitor such things. Well, they've got a set of them that attaches to your head so they can measure your brains. But they keep you up all night so that you sleep through the test. And they ask you a few questions to begin with. And they also try to initiate a, what do you call that? Seizure. They initiate that by having a light blink at you while you're sleep deprived and now have fallen asleep with these EEG leads coming off of your head and all this gooey toothpaste looking shit. Once it dries, it takes forever to wash out. You'd be picking it out of your scalp for a week. So they were able to initiate a seizure. It's one of only, well, it's the only time in my life I've had a real seizure. I've had seizures other than that are a little bit different. Like my back literally seizing up to the point where it looked like I was having a grand mal's. But it wasn't. It was that the cops in Larimer County wanted to be fucking abusive as shit. Sorry, Logan County. And then they shipped me to Larimer County. One of the officers in Larimer County was aware of the situation with Clearview, and he was surprised that they hadn't already dropped the case. He was aware that Clearview was shut down and why. And, yep, they didn't drop the charges against me for another 2 years after that. Charges that they had held against me from Clearview going all the way back to January of 2018, right after Natalie was killed and before they found her killer. What you idiots fail to realize, the thing that I have been proving to you for the last 7 years, is that all cops are bad. Chris says that he doesn't go to the cops, claiming that he'd never gone to the cops in his entire life. Then he's told me a few stories since then about him going to the cops, and has called the cops multiple times about a couple of situations with people that he and I both know. Also, some people in his life that I don't know. I don't know his ex. I do know that when he was telling me she was threatening to kill herself and take out the kids with her, yeah, that was legit. It's also recorded on my channel. Anyway, I'm going to go down and park at Tillamook Sporting Goods. Hopefully I don't get messed with. There's a guy named Justin, and because of where I park, and because his family is so close, he came out tonight to introduce himself. I explained I'm not usually out there that late. And he was telling me some stories about people stark naked, whacking off in the bushes over by the library while his stepdaughter was out there. I told him, well, you guys don't create any problems. I hear your kids screaming and shouting. Sometimes I even, you can even hear it when I'm, making my recordings. But I was explaining to him, hey, with your kids aren't screaming and shouting the way that the kids over at the library are. Your kids, when they're screaming and shouting, they're playing like kids. They're gonna scream and shout. That's kind of part of playing as a kid. Getting excited and laughing, and, it happens. It can be loud. But them kids over at the library are different. They want to scream bloody murder like something's happening to them, just to try out their screams. They go to there's a little corner building there. It's just like, it looks like they took a building and cut it catty corner in half. Like a sandwich, when your mom wants to be real fancy and cut it the long way. And some of the girls like to show up there and scream into that corner, bloody murder, like something horrible's happening to them. And it fucking gets me every time. Every time they do that, I gotta get out and look. Just like when those girls down at the Tillamook Sporting Goods parking lot are screaming and hooting and hollering. Yeah, I know they're just fucking around. I also know there's lots of times where I thought people were just fucking around and they weren't. some of those situations resulted in dead people. So yeah, I take it seriously. When I hear children screaming, I always look. This guy was thinking I was talking about his kids. No, his kids aren't screaming like that. His kids are, that kind of screaming. They're happy, they're excited, they're having fun. They're burning off that sugar rush or whatever. The guy was also telling me that he's got some of the same issues with the medications that I do, and he was telling me about some of the other medications to look out for. The guy knows his stuff. Anyway, he wanted to know who I was since I was parked out there in such proximity to his house. He also wanted to tell me about some of the inappropriate stuff that he's seen out here, and also a little bit about the police. Not much, though, because he's kind of new here. Now, as far as the guy whacking off in the bushes, yeah, nobody wants to see that, and they certainly don't want their daughters to see that. There's also the fact that something like that, well, that's part of the reason that he decided to come out and talk to me, is because he has seen stuff like that, and his family has seen stuff like that, so they're aware that it's real stuff, that it's not some figment of my imagination, and they wanted to make sure I'm not one of them kind of guys. And he said, well, my wife was wondering, and I said, he's out there, he's not causing any problems or anything, he's not exposing himself or anything crazy like that, but I'll go out and talk to him. He had the night off from having the kids, so it's just him and his wife. He's got some husbandly things to do, whatever that happens to be. She had a honey-do list of some sort. So I was glad I got to meet him. He was just introducing himself to me on his way back from buying a six-pack. He even offered me a beer. I let him know I quit drinking in 2021. He was like, oh yeah, I remember you telling me that. Anyway, Lori, her son, who thought I was Jesus, he wouldn't come off it. She said that she felt bad, having me go there, and she was going to visit with me and all sorts of other stuff, and then she ended up just ditching me with her sons, and she felt real bad about that. That'd be Lori, the lady I was just talking to. I didn't feel like she did something horrible to me. I was really stressed out about it, and there's also the fact that was a really stressful situation for her. Obviously, she's still worked up over it because she's got court now on the 15th about it. It happens. Anyway, after I parked down by Tillamook Sporting Goods, I gotta make a phone call to the Straight Talk people and explain that my Straight Talk minutes didn't go to my phone, but I did find my phone card. Lori's not the only one who's aware of the police involvement in a lot of the crimes around here, especially a lot of the drug-related crimes and even some of the shootings. By some of the shootings, yeah, I mean to say that there's been more than one shooting here in what they consider a small town. There's stoplights here. This is not a small town. This is a big town. Not quite a small city, but it's definitely not a small town. Ain't no stoplights in a small town. I take that back. You might have a stoplight at the railroad crossing in a small town. Might. I know of one small town that has a stoplight right at the only railroad crossing in the whole town. But that's because there's a major highway that, not an interstate, just a highway, that goes right through the center of town and intersects with the railroad. Now, any other road in town, you're not going to find more than one car on that road at a time because it's a tiny fucking town. But that one major fucking highway route, well, you've got easily 20 or 30 people on that road at any given point in time on a slow day. So yeah, they got a stoplight there because it's it's what's known as a double intersection. It's an intersection with a stoplight, and then a road, and then the railroad tracks, and then another stoplight. Double intersection. Anyway, I guess let's plug in my phone, start my car, get down to Tillamook Sporting Goods, and continue to brag about telling on bad cops. Also, as you've probably noticed from nearly every homeless person that I've spoken to here, it's not just the police. It's also Tillamook Family Counseling Center and Care. And TCCHC. There's also people who have gotten some limited assistance from some of these places, but they don't follow through, don't keep their word, and then it's, of course, the victim's fault. Lori is a victim of systemic abuse. She cannot take care of herself because of the systemic abuse and the sheer quantity of running around they're forcing her to do because she can't take care of herself and they know it. She's going to lose everything and end up homeless, and they're going to get to take advantage of her boys again. Her boys are both grown-ass adults, but one of them has very special needs. You can tell Lori's just eccentric and excited about the situation because she's talking about real-life situations. She's talking about police corruption. She's talking about rent. She's talking about being evicted. She's talking about jumping through government hoops and spending more to jump through those hoops than she's ever getting out of them. And also the fact that they are relentless and remorseless about it. They just keep her stacked up with things they want her to do, so she can't do any of the things that she needs to turn in her predators, because her predators are constantly keeping her tied up in court as if she's the bad guy. But she ain't. Now that other feller thought that there was aliens out here and that he could see the aliens and they were leaving alien tracks in places and all sorts of other stuff. Also thought the Illuminati and the government were following him everywhere. The government might have me red flagged, but the only people who follow me around an area are local police who don't want to fucking get in trouble and are looking for any excuse to try to fucking harass me. Or they're running around to the local businesses telling people that I'm a drug addict who killed somebody in Colorado. What a bunch of fucking cunts. So yeah, Lori's got an uphill battle. She doesn't have it quite as well together as I do. And I certainly don't have it together. Hopefully y'all have noticed that by now. I don't have my shit together. I don't have my ducks in a row. All the people that were supposed to help me with that outright fucking failed miserably. Even the quote-unquote professional people who are supposed to know not to do this shit have done this shit repeatedly and blatantly and obviously. The fact that they can be so brazen in their felonies and nobody bothers to take a look. They just say, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, you know what? There are hundreds of cases where literally my predators, by name the people who harmed me, went to jail or prison for doing those things to other people. By the way, Clearview Behavioral Health will inject you with Haldol, Ativan, and ketamine at the request of a police officer. Most hospitals in America will do that, but only for a homeless person or a poor person. Otherwise, they want to see evidence before they go just believing anything that they're told. If somebody's trying to turn in a police officer and they have to do so alone, all the police officer has to do is take them to a hospital and say, hey, this guy's schizophrenic, and the hospital will write it down immediately. Inject you with drugs at the request of the cops. Fuck this country. Also, I know I say this a lot, but I am so thankful for brown people. I am thankful for the Hispanic people who have taken care of me where my own people did not. I want to say thank you to the native peoples who took care of me where my own people did not. Now, I want to take a moment to reflect upon what I just said. Who are my own people? Are my own people white people? No, they're not. My own people are human beings. All of us. My own people in specific are the homeless and the disabled. Those are my people. Those are the people that I most closely identify with because that is the life that I have had to live, that I have been forced to live in, because the American public doesn't want to hear anything about the homeless except homeless are bad and okay, we're getting rid of them. When you have a bad day because your daddy's been touching you wrong again, but you're dependent upon him and his income to keep you fed and help pay for part of your bills, yeah, who's really going to give a shit if you go take it out on a homeless man? Anyway, any of you who paid attention to the recordings with Lori before, you know that I've spoken with her before, that this issue that she's got is ongoing, that it's been ongoing, and that the people that she's been sent to help her are fucking around with her head and fucking around with your tax dollars. Because they're getting paid to fuck Lori over. They're getting paid to fuck me over. They're getting paid to fuck over Farnsworth. They're getting paid to fuck over James. James Roberts. And I keep wanting to call him James Morrison or Jim Morrison. It's because that's the word association I have. He introduced himself as Jim first time I met him. Now, the more excited she is, the more fast she talks. And that comes down to her stress level, same as mine. She's also got to worry about her kids, the same as Claire Jordan had to worry about her kids. If she jumps through the hoops, she ends up screwing herself because those hoops are expensive. And these assholes know how expensive it is. That's why they're having us jump through them. They know how long it takes to jump through the hoops. That's why they make you jump through them. They're supposed to do their jobs immediately as mandated reporters. And accusations of abuse are enough to start an investigation, and yet they refuse. They utilize child molesters in nearly every jurisdiction in America in order to antagonize people. They'll give a child molester a couple extra weeks on the outs, claiming to this child molester that they'll help him to get away. They'll speak up for him so he gets a lesser sentence if he helps to commit felonies against so-and-so. And after the felonies have been committed, oh, those cops still arrest those chimos. They don't give a fuck. They got what they wanted out of them. They got a sicko chimo fuck to commit felonies for them. And who's gonna believe a sicko chimo fuck? I had to turn in Boulder Police Department to the Boulder Police Department. They refused to investigate themselves and sent me to other departments. Those other departments sent me back to Boulder Police Department, who sent me to other departments, who sent me back to Boulder Police Department, who sent me around in circles to different various mental health places, who sent me back to the Boulder Police Department, who sent me to other police departments. Fuck. Same thing Tillamook's doing. Police officers are all taught what bias they can play on in order to get away with harming who they want. Every police officer knows that going after a rich, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman with a rich husband and a nice fucking house, yeah, he better do what she wants even if it's illegal. That officer knows if he's a bald, disabled, homeless man out here on the streets, all he's got to do is say, oh, he's a junkie, or he's mentally ill. And magically, that officer did no wrong. Magically, all of the other services, we have to go to these officers' friends to turn these officers in to their friends and their coworkers. Obviously, that's a conflict of interest, just like it was with Scott DaCosta. But because Nebraska State Patrol absolutely refused to do their jobs and lied to me about their jobs non-stop, I was not allowed to turn in Scott DaCosta. And as a result, Scott DaCosta was repeatedly allowed to interject himself into situations that he had already committed felonies in. Now, there were asshats like Shannon Alvarado who promised they were going to help me, and Mandy Hughes who promised she was going to help me, and Kayla Trujillo who promised she was going to help me, Kara Johnson Miles who promised she was going to help me. In the end, none of them helped me. They were all at each other's fucking throats until I told on them all, and then magically then they could work together. Magically then, Shannon Alvarado, after assisting my predators in getting away, assisting Mandy Hughes in getting away, wanted to invite Mandy Hughes to a Natalie Bollinger group where they were both fucking bashing my name. And this is after Mandy Hughes had decided to try to get a protection order against me for telling the truth. It did not work, by the way. But she sure as fuck tried. It's because she didn't like the fact that she got lied and she lied and she got busted lying. She was recorded lying. own voice, her own words. So for Mandy Hughes and Shannon Alvarado, after the fucked up shit that Shannon did, and the fucked up shit that Mandy did, in fact, they did work together to help me to turn it in at any point in time, but then they wanted to be buddy-buddy after the fact. Kind of like Taylor Trujillo getting on and typing mean shit with me, or at me, with Mandy Hughes. Does Kayla Trujillo not remember Mandy Hughes' daughter? Mandy Hughes' daughter was going to try to help me while I was fucking locked up in jail. But instead of trying to help, Kayla Trujillo and Mandy Hughes' daughter were at each other's fucking throats. Yeah, way to fucking hell. I tried to get people to work together the way that my predators work together, except not towards the same end. My predators work together to gaslight the living shit out of me. And then, to turn me into the law, immediately, once they got a response, it just took them far longer to get the response they wanted than they'd originally anticipated. These dumbasses thought, hell, we'll just threaten to kill him for a few weeks, and eventually he'll threaten to kill us back. It didn't work that way. I didn't threaten to kill those people back until August of 2018. Whereas those people started threatening to kill me and my friends and family all the way back in October of 2016. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Put it in a bucket. Bucket. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's too. And no victim left behind. Oh yeah, and here's some Metallica for you. You take a mortal man, you put him in control. Watch him become a god. Bum, 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 ba-da-da. Is that Metallica? Generals gathered in their masses. That's Black Sabbath. Alright. We got to hear some of the youngins over there honking their horns and revving up their vehicles. Makes them feel manly with big cojones, so we'll let them do it. The guy with the black Honda Civic that I spoke with earlier today, he was asking if the people down here ever mess with me. I said the cops mess with me, but none of the business owners do. They're all pretty nice to me. It's because they know that I'm not out here tearing shit up. They know that when there's a situation like the one with Christian, that I'm going to speak up, that I'm going to try to keep the peace. And Christian wanted to throw tantrums because I said no. I said yes to things that I should have told him no to after that, just because I wanted to keep the peace. Just because I didn't want Christian damaging the businesses here. Because that don't just make it bad for him. That makes it bad for all of us. And it gives the police just one person like Christian can lead to a dozen innocent arrests out here on the street.